Welcome back. It's the night of the 42nd day, 41st day. And gosh, we're trying to figure out how to get through this what I hope to be the end of the war. Roman is wounded, but his bandages are holding up. He's sad and tired, so I think what we might do tonight is just let them rest. I think Katya is gonna guard, Roman is gonna sleep, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be better prepared to go out and look around. You'll notice that the fighting seems to have calmed down a little, and the snow is obviously gone. So I'm hoping that this means slowly we're moving away from the conflict continuing. So they stole 2 meat and 2 food, and we chased them off with guns. Roman and Katya are both injured. Oh boy. Yeah, these bandits are really fucking up my shit. Okay, Katya, go eat. We need these rat traps to start getting food again. Alright, so Katya, you're gonna kind of have to take care of Roman today, I'm afraid. And also I need you to fix the wall, please. Nah, I don't have enough wood yet. Alright. So, Roman, go feed yourself, dude. Oh, good. There's some more rat meat. Wounded, depressed, and tired. Alright, well, let's go play the guitar and go lie down. Roman, tomorrow I'll send him to the hospital. So Katya's gonna play the guitar for an hour. Or so. It's currently warmer in whatever country this is than it is in Vancouver. Okay. Let's go talk to Roman. See if we can cheer either of them up. I want to see if Katya is better at this than Roman was. Roman, you can't give up. Hard, but we are in it together. I know, but all this, it's too much for me. Yeah, things look grim, but I'm here for you if you need me. Thank you. You're a good friend. Hey man, just taking care of you, just like you took care of me. Okay. Gotcha, you need to rest. You both do. Yeah, she's better at that than Roman is. Alright, Katya is wounded, depressed, and tired, but somebody's got to guard the house. Where's the hospital? City hospital. Roman, go. I'll bring something to give them. I have a donation. Hi, I'm Roman. I'm all fucked up. Where's the nurse? Here. Take this. You don't look well, sir. Can I help you? Hells no, I'm not well. Okay. Let's go home. That's all we can do. Stagger to the hospital and get taken care of. Ay, ay, ay. Everybody cross your fingers we didn't get raided again. Ah, good. Okay, so now Katya is severely wounded, so I'll have to send her to the hospital tomorrow. Roman, go make food. Katya... I don't know what to tell you, dude. Get up here and eat, I guess. And then you need to sleep. They both need to just sleep. Oh, we're running low on food, too. There you go, turn on the radio. Roman, go to bed. Everybody just fucking go to bed. This is rough. I mean, they're still alive. It's kind of great in that regard, but like... Let's check the news. The next 2 days, it should be warm and pleasant, if a bit windy. Classical music. Vegetable crisis seems to be at an end. International aid trucks laden with turnips, beets, and potatoes have reached the city. Bands of looters are on the rampage. Play the guitar. Try to cheer yourself up. Hopefully we'll catch some rats or something. Whew. This game is grinding me down. We have one food left. I wonder where I can get more food without it being like a huge, like, struggle, a huge fight. Yeah, I wonder. I guess I can make vegetables, but I don't think I have the material for herbal garden, herbal workshop. Prepare simple herbs, meds, bandages. Yeah, I mean I could make this to make bandages, but that's a lot of stuff. We can improve it to grow vegetables. Yeah, see, I don't have nearly enough stuff to make a vegetable garden. No. I'm just gonna sleep. Yeah, I think at this point my strategy isn't to build infrastructure. My strategy is to survive the hopefully remaining days of the war. Because if I start trying to build infrastructure now, I just don't have the energy for it. Like my characters are too depressed and too wounded and just too out of it. What I'm hoping I can do is just end out the war. If I had the opportunity earlier on, I definitely would have built. Like if I had known or I had ever played it before, yeah, I would have gone for building the rat traps right away, and then immediately jumped into building the. I would have gotten like an axe, the traps, the water distiller, and then the garden for sure. But right now, like these two just kind of need to hang on until the war is over. Hopefully, fingers crossed that it's even possible. I think it's really interesting that this game, like, I'm consuming the game from the perspective of a North American person, right? Like, war like this has never touched my life personally. Like, I don't, my family, back to my like great grandparents, all basically lived in Canada. You know, Canada's never had a civil war. But there are people who are playing this game who might be refugees from this kind of situation, or like, you know, have like their parents fled from like a war-torn country. It's interesting making games or playing games and thinking about that you're not the only audience for such a thing. You know, that there are other places in the world where these kinds of games are more closer. They're closer to reality than they are to fantasy. You know. All right. Shady-looking, well-armed individuals. Military guys who will trade. Scour the abandoned part for supplies. That might be worth doing. Or maybe we just guard and sleep. But we need food. Nothing there unless we're willing to steal. We'll give it one more night and then we'll go to the quiet house. And maybe we can steal from them. God damn raiders. We're gonna run out of bullets too. Severely wounded, slightly wounded. Alright. Let's go make the last of that food. And we're gonna feed it to Katya because she's worse. She's worse off injuries. She has worse off injuries than Roman does. You gotta eat, dude. Hungry, slightly wounded, depressed. Well. Let's go get some rat meat. That'll help. Oh, is that our trader? Okay. I'll trade some medicine with him. Alright, man. Well, Katya can't come to the door. She is trying not to die. She's sleeping, trying not to die. What do you have? You have water? Do you have any food? No, he doesn't have any food. Ugh. Okay, well, how about this stuff? Oh, you don't want the herbal whatevers? Alright. How about that? How about a fake medicine and a real medicine in exchange for... a bandage? No. Wait, one bandage and a food, and can you throw in some parts? How about a filter? Shows you a filter for some shitty gun parts. Take all the sugar. Oops, no, that's not what I want. Take all the sugar, and I'm gonna just keep taking parts from you until. There we go. And then, does he have any wood? Yeah. Here, hold on. Let's trade the rest of these weapon parts that I'm not gonna use. Oops. Okay, and let's see if I can trade these for wood. There we go. Alright, thanks, man. Now maybe I have enough to block off that wall? Yeah, there we go. Come on, man. You can do it. Okay. Make a food. Okay. So he's eaten. It's 4 o'clock. Let's get him to bed. Katya is severely wounded, but I'm gonna leave her sleeping for now. Actually, she should. I have bandages now. She should go and bandage herself up. There you go, Katya. Can I go back to bed? It's funny because on the grand scale, this game is really about what life is about, right? It's about struggling against entropy. Now, it's more obvious because there's like a war going on and these characters are trying to survive, but they're still just doing what every person on Earth does every day, right? Trying to like keep yourself alive in the face of the like ongoing slow degradation of human existence. Which is why I think it's so engaging as a game, right? Because, you know, a game about just like trying to be a person wouldn't be any fun. But a game with some kind of like framework around it to give you to understand this stuff is different, right? Because now it's fictionalized. It's a game about surviving during war, but really it's just about the sort of human experience, right? All right, severely wounded and sad, slightly wounded, depressed, and tired. So maybe shield guard and he'll sleep. And eventually we'll be able to leave the house. Oh, curb on crime, thank you. The night was calm. That's really what I needed to hear. Okay. I have enough water still, and I still have another filter, so I might as well go use that filter to get me one more water. Peacekeeping forces en route to Pogorin. Ceasefire any day now. International peacekeepers are coming to put an end to the war. Oh, cool. Any day now. Just hang on, everybody. Just hang on. We're gonna make it. This bummer depresso music's still gonna help too. Katya, reset the trap. Hungry, wounded, sad, and tired. No, finish what you're doing. Roman. Come on, man. Oh god, it's freaking freezing, too. Why is it so cold today? Oh dear, who are these people? Why is that guy wearing a balaclava? Viceni militia, what are you doing at my house? Oh god. Please go away. Have you got a moment? I suppose. Someone from this neighborhood. The supplies are vital. There's a reward for help seizing the culprit. One of your neighbors was reportedly sniffing around. Yes. It was him. I wouldn't help him. I'm sorry. Thank you. That poor guy. Still. We didn't have a choice. Right? Like... I mean, if I could lie, but what if they found out? Right? Besides, that guy came to me asking me to help and I didn't help him. I chose not to. I told him to get lost, because... well, whatever. And now if the traitor comes, I'll have something to give him. And we might actually get to the end of the war. Ugh, let's go make some more fuel, I guess. Get us through this freezing night. Whatever, all I did was confirm those soldiers' suspicions anyway. There we go. Starting to heat up a little. Okay, maybe just go and play your guitar with your frozen fingers. Okay, he's gonna play guitar for the rest of the night. But these are like exactly the kind of things that would make a LARP about this this situation so fun, right? The GMs would show up with random events, right? And then afterwards, you would all sit together, as you do like when decompressing from a LARP. You could all sit together and talk about like, why did you make that decision, or what would you have done if this was different? Yeah. Because that's the part that's fun about these games, right? About both playing them on our own and thinking about these things, and then discussing them as a group. Is like, what feelings did we have? Oh my god! Fuck! Finally, yes. Jesus God. We did it. Our neighbor felt unsafe and asked us to help border windows. We did that. Day 7. We helped a man get medication for his father. And then later it did not go so well. Katya killed another civilian. Yeah, Katya had blood first. Frightened neighbor asked us to protect her. Pavel agreed. The fact that these are real photos is so intense. Okay, and then Pavel saved the girl. Then Marco died. Bruno murdered several people. Oh, jeez. Then Pavel died. And then Bruno left because he couldn't handle it after all those murders. We helped reinforce our neighbor's shelter. And then that guy, yeah, the guy came asking for help. They asked us if our neighbor had stolen supplies. We confirmed he did. And then the war ended. Huh. Eventually putting an end to the fighting in Pogoren. Those who managed to survive the war in Grasnavia would never forget it. After the war, Katya located her parents in a refugee camp abroad, but they were no longer the people she knew. They remained abroad, where they're struggling to forget the past. Katya has burnt all her notes and never writes about the war. Roman survived the war, but avoided his old haunts, anxious to meet former comrades. He settled in the countryside and tried to start a new life, but remained haunted by his past. For all his efforts, Marco was rewarded with a shallow grave. Maybe his wife and daughters will find it someday, on condition they manage to survive the persecution themselves. Sadly, Pavel died. Will his family come back to Pogoren to visit his grave one day, or would it be too painful? A reminder of what they've gone through. Do the dead even care? Bruno left the shelter one night. He was trying to reach his friend and got shot while attempting to slip between army pickets. Kind of a bad deal for everybody. Alright, well, that's that for this war of mine. We managed to get all the way through in one go. Now there's lots of ways that I could do it differently. I could have built a lot more infrastructure at first. I got really lucky, but it feels like a very random playthrough in a lot of ways, in that like there was that one night, God, around day 25 or so, where I was sure it was going to be over. I was sure that Katya would die, and that would just be the end of it, that she would just expire. But we got through, and the fact that she lived through that night is what made it possible for us to finish the game, right? So she started and started up again, and then Roman showed up, and that was random. I would have died without Roman. She would have just died on her own. But because of Roman's intervention, Katya was able to survive, and the two of them got through. It felt really dramatic and very intense all the way through. Every time that we had a chance to to play a day through, play through a night, make a decision about whether or not to kill those snipers, for example. Yeah, gosh, that's something else. Good work, Katya. I'm glad that Katya survived all the way through. And she was the first one to kill somebody too. She was the first to spill blood. I don't feel as inclined necessarily to unravel my feelings about the game, because we've been doing that as we played. We've talked about what does it mean to survive? What does it mean to put real choice into a game where you have to make decisions about what feels like the ethical thing to do versus keeping your characters alive, and so to a lesser extent sort of what you might do in that situation. It's interesting to see these games because folks play them in one of two ways, I find. Well, one of three ways. They play either what would I do, what would the character do, or how can I win? And they're all valid ways of playing the game, but I think that it's interesting to see the different playthroughs. I tend to fluctuate between the three. I try to play the game with an eye towards good faith play to the narrative that the creators have designed for us, but I also want to win, right? I want to get through, and I want to play it honestly and sort of in a sense of moving through the game world, engaging the mechanisms as much as the narrative. So I actually want to run the credits because I think that they deserve to be seen. It was a really interesting game and very cool to play. I know that there's a lot of this game that I didn't experience, obviously, and unfortunately I don't have a lot of time to kind of really explore the game, but I feel like I got a good idea of what this game was intended to do and the kinds of questions that it was intended to bring up. I thought it was interesting that the early gameplay was very much about going out into the world and finding things, but as I lost members of my family, I needed to close up. I needed to kind of like shut down. And really, if you look at the mechanisms of the game and the way that the game's flow went, the big change was killing that sort of helpless family, right? And that's kind of fucked up. The thing that let me live, the thing that let me turtle up and create a safe space for my characters was killing that guy and his sick father. So, I mean, what does that say about survival, right? Like, is survival inherently at the cost of other people, or can you survive as a family? Thank you, Mr. Clayman, for your contribution to the end of the war. I appreciate it so much, as always. I think that games like this need to exist. They need to be real. They need to be made, because without games that grab you by the throat and say, you know, what are you gonna do with this thing that we've given you? What are you gonna do with the space that you have to navigate, this horrible choice you have to make? Without those games, we just sort of get lost, right? We get lost in playing games that are purely for entertainment. And there's nothing wrong with games like Rocket League, or even war games that are purely for the sake of entertainment. But I think that it is really interesting to be able to create an experience that asks more questions than it answers, that says to you, you know, this is about, it's about trying to figure out what it means to be a person in a situation like this. And I think that it's really cool that this was made by, you know, a team of people in a place in the world that has been touched by war, that these kinds of situations in the past have happened, have occurred. Because, you know, unlike so much of the media that we experience, this game is about a kind of reality that we may not have access to, depending on where we're from. And, you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier on about, you know, audience, right? It came up when we were playing through The Witcher, where the people that make a game bring to that game a sense of place, a sense of, I want to say zeitgeist, but it's not about time, it's about culture. So they bring a sense of culture to the games that they make, and you can't not, right? Like, Dungeon World is a product of my culture, my space in the world, and it's a fantasy game that brings those elements in. So, you know, I wanna see if I can find, and maybe you know some, I think if you can find some interviews with the developers of the game, I would love to see those, because I want to know what the people that made this game have to say about their experience making it and what they brought to it, you know, as designers and as a part of the culture that they're in. Yeah. And I guess that goes to show you what I've said kind of all along. If games are only being made by a small group of people, right? If, let's say, only some tiny sliver of the population is making games, we're only going to get the experiences of a tiny sliver of people. So what I want to see is more games made by South Asian game developers, by African game developers, by European game developers of places that are not traditionally home to big game development groups. I want to see more games that come out of Russia. I want to see games that come from India, because the people that live there will inherently, without even trying, bring their own personal experience to the table. And this goes for more than just location. This goes for you know, trans people and other LGBT people, like people with a different experience, and are women that make games, make different games than men, right? So, I mean, I guess this is the thing. The questions that a game asks, and the answers that it implies, or the answers that you can infer from them, matter because of the places those people are from. And I mean that in the sense of setting both culturally and locatively, but also emotionally and experientially. So I guess the point here is that you're going to get good games when you have breadth of game design available to you. So this is why we should encourage, you know, people of color, women, you know, people who are not the usual type to make games, to do more, and to sort of saturate that space with diversity, because diversity matters. And this game wouldn't be what it is, to kind of bring it back to this game would not be what it is without the developers being from where they are. And I think that it brings the positive and the negative from the game, from the culture into the game. And this is why we see, you know, racial diversity being an issue in The Witcher, but we also see a different perspective on war from a game from a similar place in the world. I don't know. I think that just people bring things to the table when they make games, and recognizing where those things come from and recognizing the diversity of development is super important. So I guess that's it for this war of mine. We might revisit it another time, but for today, I think that'll do it. So thank you for coming with me on this 45-day journey. And for sticking it out with Katya and Roman right to the end. I appreciate having you here, and thanks for being so good about having interesting conversations about this game and the kinds of things it talks about with me. And I suppose we'll see y'all next time for whatever game it is that we choose to play.